is there a better place to have the dichotomy of road racing and oval racing? This is a circuit that, when constructed, was one which pretty much stood out as its uniqueness. It pretty much says that you want to go out there and put your best foot forward. This is one of the best series to go out there and race. This is the oval round, and this is where you're going to have to prove yourself. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Lotus 49s here from Mobility Land Motegi. It's your Grand Prix legends, and it's here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry. Alongside me in the booth for this one today is Joey Atterbury. Joe Peak steps behind the director's chair and jumps in and says, you know what, I'm going to direct, and he'll direct those cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But to Mobility Land Motegi, it's oval courseway that we are working with today. It's going to be fast, it's going to be frantic, and it's going to feel very super speedway. Let's take a look at what makes this oval challenge so difficult with our GSRC track guy.
Welcome to the oval at the Twin Ring Motegi. Let's get a common misconception out of the way. While damaged in the earthquake of 2011, it has been repaired and would need very little done to see major racing action today. Got it? Great. But one thing is true, it doesn't get used that much nowadays, so it's great to have it here in the virtual world. In American terms, you can probably best compare this track to Gateway or Darlington in that it's egg-shaped. While both sides of the track are banked at 10 degrees, the difference is in the radius. Turns 1 and 2 are open, wide, and sweeping. Most high downforce cars will be able to take this flat out. The backstretch is also nice and wide, bringing with it plenty of side-by-side action. Turns 3 and 4, things narrow up a bit. In addition, the turn is much tighter, so you're giving the brakes a bit more of a workout here. And that opens up to a decently wide front stretch that the only challenge will be that wall on the exit of 4. Having been around since 1997, we've actually seen some history around this 1.549 mile, 2.5 kilometer track. The late down Weldon got Honda's first win here, and Danica Patrick became the first woman to win an IndyCar race here. The NASCAR Cup Series made the then annual Japanese Expedition race here in 1998. That was the first race Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. raced together on, and a NASCAR West Series points race was actually ran here in 1999. Who can take the checkered flag today at Japan's premier oval? Let's find out on GSRC.
There is a reason that this circuit is so good in terms of the access and in terms of the ability to find those overtaking areas. Joey, it's that long run through 1 and 2 where you feel like you've got the ability to run flat, and it's got that gateway feel to it where you can jump on the brakes a little bit through 3 and 4, try and get it G'd up.
Absolutely. If you are a road racer, this one kind of feels relatively normal. Motegi, 1.549 miles in length, just a touch under 2.5 kilometers. But the big thing here, not a whole lot of banking, only 10 degrees in these corners. And as you can see, it is an egg shape. It is not the same radius in 1 and 2 as it is in 3 and 4. So you can kind of relate it to Darlington here in North America. But like we were saying, not nearly as much banking, which kind of gives the more road race feel. You get to get hard on the brakes and really use that throttle to turn the car. But I think the big kind of question mark is how many of these competitors are going to be patient enough to let the car roll the middle?
And that's the key. Patience is what's going to win the race here today in terms of how patiently you can find the overtake and how patient you need to be with the balance of throttle out there on the circuit along with the steering. Let's take a look, though, at the championship standings, which have changed after Mugello last time out. Jorge Nieva stands on top, but he only stands on top by a couple. Mick Claridge is just behind him in the championship with Togo Hesada, a one further point behind that. Oye Zamayoa finds himself in 4th place with Sebastian Tixier 5th, And the Olsens, 2 different spellings, John, the American, ahead of Laus, the Swede. Then you got Aldrius Valentius, who made an absolutely fantastic run last time out. He's pulled himself within 40 points with Marco Antonio Lopez in 9th position and Robert Plumley, the world of Kinducci, rounding out the top 10 of the standings as it currently looks. F2, though, Joey, looks to be a story which did have a little bit more separation.
Yeah, Kevin Verbruggen right now doing an excellent job across the entire first 5 rounds, has a 39-point lead over Jan Steffen. But check this out, 2nd through 5th, only separated by 10 points. Jan Steffen, Rolly Wallbank, Kurt Clapper, Rodrigo Miranda, all locked into that battle. And then the next 3 drivers only separated by 10 points as well. Jonathan Jordan, Arnold Cook, Eugenia Massa. So I think anything can happen, and you see the last 2 names tied on this points sheet. So only about halfway through this season and several battles going on up top at the F2 driver standings.
Yeah, there are a number of battles out here today in the Cup of Nations. Well, it is Spain who have just about taken a foot forward here with the United Kingdom 9 points adrift. Japan find themselves in 3rd in a close-fought battle with their neighbours Singapore. The United States find themselves 5th with Denmark in 6th position. The Netherlands find themselves 7th as Lithuania jump up to 8th place ahead of Germany in 9th. And a bit of a gap back to Australia, who find themselves in 10th position, and the chase very much on. Just the 5 minutes then in qualifying rather than the usual 10, because a lap around here takes only 35 seconds in this machinery. That's Arnold Koch, who's there on the banking. He is decided that he is over and done with. So that is qualifying already wrapped up in the books, which will mean in just a couple moments, we'll be able to jump up onto the grid to see where everyone stacks up here today. And it is the number 2 of Togo Hesada, who's got the pole position on home soil, 35.211. Alongside him for company will be Bill Tyler. Jonathan Jourdain will have the number 1 car. They use the oval iRacing here today, so he starts 3rd with Sebastian Tixier in 4th position. You then got Kevin Verbruggen, who did have a very good qualifying today in 5th, with Jordan Gronkowski in 6th. Gary Ho has Leo Sequeira for company 7th and 8th. Stay Maurice will start 9th. Laus Olsen rounds the top 10.
Here in 11th, we've got Kevin Parrish, Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in 12th, Glenn Becker, one of our camera cars, in 13th, John Olsen in 14th, Don Peak in 15th. Great qualifying effort from that number 18. Benjamin Hackison starting 16th, David Rossi 17th, Jorge Nieva all the way back in 18th, along with Xavier Sanchez in 19th. Sandeep Banerjee rounds out the top 20.
And then over the page again to your 3rd page worth of action is Rolly Wallbank, who's there with Michael Grissinger. Then you got Jem Matzan and Alan Graham, who is there in 24th. Jan Stefan and Arnold Koch make up the 13th row of the grid, with Andres Bruno 27th and Tobias Hanvi in 28th place. It is Timothy Porter who starts 29th. 30th there belongs to Benoit Longovan. And then the 2 drivers who didn't set times, Max Linden and Austin Elliott, who will have to go from the back of the field here today in order to make that charge forward. 55 laps here today, Joey. I think now's as good a time as ever to say what makes this such an important run to go forward. And a couple of the drivers here today using virtual reality to give themselves the ultimate experience at what is pretty much the crack of dawn here in Tochigi Prefecture.
Yeah, I think we got a few cars. Glenn Becker, Tim Porter, and I believe Sebastian Tixier as well is providing us some shots from inside of their sim rigs. But like you were saying, 55 laps is what we are going to be doing today here at Motegi. I'm counting it should be round number 6 of this season. It's always going to be the fixed setup as always here in the Lotus 49 series. And we already did that qualifying, so we are off and racing. I know it's 55 laps that we're going to be doing out here, Jake, but that comes out to be in just under 35 minutes with those approximately 35-second lap times.
Well, getting the full Eurobeat experience is Sebastian Tixier. You can see here right now, he is pumped and ready. He's got everything. He's got the throttle and brake mapped out. He's got himself drifting about. He's got the classic anime initial D there on the bottom right-hand side, and he is looking to get that run forward. The spiritual success to that doesn't use a Truno AE86, Joe. It uses one of the cars here on iRacing, the Toyota GR86.
If you want to get technical, yeah, but that car wasn't around in the 80s. But I think what's most impressive is that Street Fighter guy up on top. I can't remember what his name is, but sometimes here in oval racing, I feel like you got to do that move to keep everybody away from you.
You absolutely do. Some say that this was all made in the 80s. I say we're running in the 90s, but we got 55 laps to try and find a winner here at the halfway stage of the season at Mobility Resort Motegi. Pace car will dive down to the inside. Green flag in the air, and let's get ourselves underway. Now keep an eye out for who's made a jump, and it's Seb Tixier and John Olsen. They've jumped the start by overtaking on the inside. They both have black flag penalties.
Oh, that is horrible. You can't start before the leader gets to the line out here, and we're going to get 3 wide coming off of turn number 2. Motegi on full display with only 10 degrees of banking. Everybody compresses up. There's the big impact, and now we got a chain reaction.
And Tixier was caught up in that as well. Sandeep Banerjee gets absolutely smashed up through the middle there as he goes through. Troubles for Rolly Wallbank in that one. He's caught up in the mix. So huge dramas on the opening section. There's no cautions here today, so they're going to all have to go through. Tixier was bottled up on that outside, needed to try and slow to find a way to the inside, and ultimately, by trying to stay out of trouble, he was in trouble. Hasada leads 6/10 over Jonathan Jourdain.
Oh my goodness, a lap and a half done, and it is so busy. More cars impacting that turn 2 wall. I believe that might have been Glenn Becker and John Olsen. I also saw that Gary Ho incredibly got away with a save in turn number 3 on the first lap. Didn't impact anybody, and here's Glenn Becker. You see the shot already, giggling in the wall. Hey, it's only the virtual world.
It's all smiles there, despite the issues that were out there. So was very much able to say, you know what, we'll chalk this one up for experience and we'll be on the road again as sooner rather than later. These cold conditions, especially trying to get the tyres up to temp, seem to be catching out these drivers. But here you have 1, 2, and 3. Bill Tyler on the chase of Jonathan Jourdain, on the chase of Togo Hasada, who leads this race outright. They've got 2 behind. One is Marco Antonio Lopez. The other one is the F2 Championship leader, Kevin Verbruggen, who is out there, the driver from Club Benelux, having an absolute stormer.
And I think that there's going to be a lot of cars up and down throughout this field. I was getting notes earlier that there's actually going to be quite a bit of side-by-side racing. So I have a feeling the typical ovals that we see here in North America, we're going to get a little bit something different. Jake, I think you said it the best, kind of a gateway-esque feel out here.
Yeah, it very much is that run. You're always looking to try and find the place where you can make those moves. 3 and 4 looks like they're going to be the best opportunities out here today, and Jonathan Jourdain has that best chance. He sits and waits. They rush into 1 and 2. Tyler with the fastest lap there on the back. A look at that legendary engine, the Ford DFV Cosworth there, which has had 25 years of amazing racing service and now have infinite sim racing service. Jourdain tucked up underneath, but he doesn't want to go for it here on lap 5. No ability to win the race here by lap 5, but my goodness, we have seen a number of drivers lose out in the early stages of this race. And you look at drivers a lap down: Austin Elliott, Glenn Becker, John Olsen, Laust Olsen, Leo Sequeiro, all drivers a lap down.
Well, and this car in second place, this pink number 1 car, doing a fantastic job. Now, Jonathan Jourdain, he's a usual regular runner here in the Lotus 49 series, but he is part of that F2 Drivers Championship, so it's his I rating that kind of puts him down there. Here on the oval side of things, he has got the highest I rating today, got that number 1 board, making a move down to the inside of Togo Hasada for the lead, but that number 2 car fighting tough on that outside lane.
And we know that Togo's good at ovals. He led almost every single opportunity he could at the Milwaukee Mile last season. He threw it away with 1 corner to go. He wants to go a bit better than what he can do here on home soil at Mobility Resort Motegi. Holding the outside line, Tyler with the best seat in the house, but on that inside it is Jonathan Jourdain who gets himself clear. Doesn't have clearance to move right up to the high side. He'll still have to cover the line on the defensive, but that allows Hasada to take that big power move through the inside. He gives it up at the middle of the corner, but as he tries to put the power on the exit, gets a slight bit of understeer, and just like that, Jourdain covers the inside.
Well, and this is really interesting because I'm seeing Togo a little bit faster on the back half of the track, and then going into one, you see him slot down into the racing line. He's actually going to try to do an over-under here. Let's see if he can capitalize on this move. It's going to put him on the opposite side of the racetrack going into 3. Not going to have the run, but here comes Bill Tyler in 3rd place, and look at this. Kevin Verbruggen, our F2 points championship leader, has hunted the lead group down.
Verbruggen wants to make sure that it's not going to be just a Division 2 victory today, that it's going to be overall as well. And I don't think, really, there has been any point of time ever, Joey, where an F2 championship leader has gone on to win the race outright.
Oh, well, I'm not sure about a championship leader, but just look at the top 4 here. Jonathan Jourdain, F2 points championship driver. P4, Kevin Verbruggen, F2 points championship leader. So these F2 boys, they are showing up today.
And there are drivers who have made some great progress off of the start. Ben Haxon and Jorge Nieva are huge. Now let's go back. Let's catch a replay. So this is what happened off of the start. So keep an eye on the blue car of Sebastian Tixier. So there's one already down there in the pits, so that was always going to be one in a bit of trouble, but there was one down then for Sebastian Tixier. He tried to get the launch up early, so too did the number 23 machine out there here today. That's Leo Sequeiro who got caught out. So you're going to see here, there's going to be Tixier, who's going to get the launch, thinks he's clear when the green flag goes, overtakes underneath. That's a Stonewall slam dunk penalty, but watch what happens is getting caught on the outside there, trying to stay out of trouble, running that high line. It's Tixier who gets caught up in troubles, Joey.
Yeah, and Leo Sequeiro as well. Watch this white and red car right in the middle. They're going to come up out of turn number 2. And it's just going to be a big squeeze on that outside wall, makes contact with Tixier, and from there, you've got a spinning car in front of 30 plus other Lotus 49s, just going to collect some others.
Yeah, and it's all about avoidance at that point, and Tixier will feel like this was one to forget on a race like this. It's now pulled on to a group of 7. Benjamin Haxon, who started 16th here today, has pulled onto the back of this group. Here comes Hisada down low, searching then as they go on to lap 12. Here at the Mobility Resort Motegi, he thinks better of it, but everyone's now jostling and position becomes key.
Well, and Togo Hisada is wondering, like, hey, when I was leading, it was only a group of us 3, but now that this pink car is out front, we've got a group of 7. I'm also noticing the car in 8th place. Jorge Nieva is putting down some fast lap time, so he's reeling in the leaders as well. And here's a move up front. Togo Hisada down underneath of Jonathan Jourdain. He says, I want the lead back.
Yeah, but he's sliding up the circuit, really struggling to put that power down early. It allows Jourdain back to the inside, 400s at the stripe, but down into turn 1. That's beautifully done. Jourdain back to the point, and look at the defense that's going to have to be worked on here behind, because Tyler's got mirrors full of Verbruggen and Marco Antonio Lopez and Stay Morris, who wants to get into this. Hisada back low, but now look at it, they're finding grooves. It's 2 wide, it's 3 deep into 3.
And I actually think that Togo Hisada hesitated a little bit going into turn number 3, and he is all over that tailpipe of Jonathan Jourdain, our leader, side by side between Verbruggen and Tyler for 3rd place as well. It seems like everything has erupted, and we're only on lap number 14.
It absolutely has, and everybody now is just looking to put themselves in the right position. Where do you be aggressive? Where do you not? There's the gap, about 3/10 for Jourdain as he looks to break away, and now all of a sudden, here's the look down to the inside. That's Verbruggen looking for that pass. High line taken by Bill Tyler. He might struggle a little bit out there because the groove isn't so necessarily defined at this moment in time. We haven't seen too much running up top, but he'll get the slipstream off the exit. That'll pull him alongside. And look at that, like he's just been left out there as Verbruggen. He lost an entire car length and a half on that straight, not having tow.
Yeah, you just got to take the notes. All right, what did I do this time, and where did it put me? What can I learn from it, and how can I make it better next time? Because Steve Morris is actually all up over the back of Verbruggen, as same as Hisada, still pretty much inside of the gearbox of our leader out there. It's only a matter of time until Togo finds one of these over-unders with a little bit more traction, and something we haven't talked about at all. I've actually heard the tire wear is quite drastic here.
It very much will do. They're putting a lot of load on the inside tyres and especially on the outside tyres too. So they're going to have to be very alert to how much they are using those tyres and how that's going to go. There are drivers making progress. Nieva just 0.6 off the back of Marco Antonio Lopez. Kevin Parrish a further 2 seconds back. Would love to join this group if they would start scrapping it out at the front. There are other drivers who have looked to make some progress after getting caught up early. Jordan Gronkowski, for example, leading the second pack about 12 seconds off of this leading group. He now makes a search down to the inside. That's a pass on Michael Grissinger. That one is for 12th place.
And then jumping a little bit further back in the field here, there's a couple of battles. This is the one for 13th, and then this one is a little bit further back for 15th place. This one has Timothy Porter, Andres Bruno, Don Peak, and Gary Ho all involved with this. So you got to be careful. Gary Ho right here in that purple number 20 car, he had problems on lap number 1. Actually one of the faster cars today, trying to make his way back through the field as we ride on board with the number 18 of Don Peak.
Yeah, Don in 17th position is seeing those two in front. Porter leading the charge of those drivers and now becomes an important part of where do you find the pass. He knows how important this group of 4 is, with Andres Bruno very intent on making that look to the inside. Gary Ho waiting in the wings back there, but getting caught up on the apron slightly, having to rush up a little bit, and that's just going to cost the run there for Andres Bruno. He gets a good rush on the outside, but he just loses out that little bit of grip. He needs a bit more.
It's fun to watch all of these different types of groups out here, and it seems like Motegi is applying a lot of 2x2 racing, just as we see it up front here. This is actually our lead group. Togo Hesada down low, Jonathan Jordan up top, and then Bill Tyler, Kevin Verbruggen, the same thing in that second row. We're going to go 3 wide, Jake.
We absolutely are, because Verbruggen's going to go on the high line. On the low line is going to go Bill Tyler. Where does Togo go in all of this? And at the moment, the answer is down the middle. That's going to put then up a position for Bill Tyler. He'll move to second, and watch that inside line. That's Ben Hackerson, who's really starting to make some progress. And he knows how important it is to move up through this group. It was just 6-7 laps ago. He was on the back of this train. Now he's looking at a podium.
You say he's just starting to make his way up, but I look at that number 4 car. Jake, he is up 13 positions so far in only 20 laps. So talk about getting up on the wheel and driving, and he just took away 3rd place from Togo Hesada.
He's done brilliantly, and now look at the inside line taking shape. Hesada now under pressure from Stay Morris, who wants to get in, and everybody knows how important it is that you have a little bit of help somewhere out there in this race, and this is where you're starting to see it. There's Verbruggen's view going through 1 and 2 once again. This is lap 21 now here at 55, so they're almost reaching that halfway stage. There are some drivers who have used up their tyre early, others will be saving it here to the end. And I look at those drivers who haven't really made many moves so far. Marco Antonio Lopez, Stay Morris, those are the 2 drivers I'd look to see maybe in the last 5 to 10 laps showing making a move.
Well, and how I see this front group here, Jake, is that I see a lot of these drivers using up tire, and if you're going to have an overheated tire at the end, what is your best course of action right now? Get side by side and race it out with everybody, or maybe kind of hang out in the 6th, 7th place like Jorge Nieva is right now and let everybody burn their stuff up. It'll be curious to see how it all actually does play out at the end.
Nieva is definitely a curious case in terms of this race. Jordan running roughshod at the front of this field. It's Tyler and Hackerson who are there in the mix. There is Nieva in 7th position as he sits on the back of Kevin Verbruggen, the F2 championship leader, trying to find a few points. And here's one of the keys. F1 versus F2 championship leader in terms of a battle doesn't happen very often. Each to their own will have a reason of why they need the points.
Well, and I think on the oval, all of these ratings kind of get thrown out the window, right? This is a road racing series, and that's what it's based off of, is those road racing points. And here we go, 3 wide again. They were looking, I believe that was the 22 of Steve Morris. He was poking his nose down into turn number 3, but thought better of it. Togo Hesada now coming down the racetrack. But what I was getting to beat, Jake, is that oval rating. It's a little bit different here. As you know, oval specialists versus road race drivers.
Yeah, it's a different set of skills, and it's the sort of set of skills that you need to go out and be at your level best with. If you want one piece of action, you're getting multiple parts of it at this moment, and it's very much going to be a case of who wants what. Here goes Ben Hackerson to the inside, looking for the lead against Jonathan Jourdain, who powers through the initial part of the corner, but they'll scrap it out off the exit.
And we're going to see who gets the power down. It is a drag race down the front straightaway between Jourdain and Hackerson. Jourdain in that pink car on the outside, Hackerson on the inside, both really deep on the brakes. And I think I saw another car, that might have been Steve Morris, way up out of the line. But it's Benjamin Hackerson in that number 4 car to the point.
To the point, and now wants to lead from the front. Club UK and I, but Jourdain is not going to have this one lying down. He's going to look then, the man from Club Michigan, to get this one back. So Jourdain is now going to move back in front and get himself back into that race leading position. The easiest way to win a race is to be in position number 1, Joey. It's the first rule of trying to win.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it for sure. But when you got, what is it, about 7 hungry sharks behind you, you got to stay on your toes and swim as fast as you can, because here comes Ben Hackerson, and it looks like a little bit of tire smoke from a lapped car right in front of him, but side by side between the number 1 and number 4.
Yep, they'll go again down low, and they will have to navigate the traffic here today. Jem Matsan is going to be the first of those drivers who will have to dive out of the way. Etiquette indicates you've got to go up high side in order to avoid that. But at least for the moment, as they hit halfway, we have got a fantastic race on display here out for the front of this field. They charge about again into 1 and 2, and the small little dichotomies, the small little battles that you're seeing out there up and down of drivers trying to find a space to attack, that's going to be key. Bill Tyler has been always in the mix, but never standing out when it's come to his racing so far in third. Husada out there on the high side, and Husada has just that natural style, Joey, which just screams the car always wants to turn around. He's got a brilliant sense of balance when it comes to that Lotus 49.
Well, he's also a previous champion, as we're potentially going to be 3 wide for the lead. You see the lapped car all the way on the outside, staying out of the way, but it's Hackerson and Jourdain. Hackerson pretty much gets choked up out of the exit. Here comes Togo Husada. He's going to try to over-under them both. He's side by side with Jourdain. Now he's making the move on Hackerson into 3.
That's come out of nowhere, and if Togo can pogo up into the race lead, this will be a brilliant move, and he has found it. But again, searching on the outside, little slide from Hackerson is going to cost the run. Jourdain will go through, and he'll be 3 wide now for third, as Nieva now will try and find his way through. So too Bill Tyler. They're all searching about. It is a case of trying to shuffle the deck chairs and wait for the music to stop in this beautiful game of musical chairs at over 270 kilometers an hour.
Well, I was noticing something just a couple laps ago. Bill Tyler has been making some big-time wiggles in 3 and 4. That was the first car to really show me that the tires are starting to go off, but now this entire lead group, they're dealing with huge wiggles off of these corners also. Yeah, you saw that move as well coming down the front straightaway here between Steve Morris and Kevin Verbruggen, but things are starting to kind of unravel here in terms of those tires.
Yes, and that's going to mean that those drivers who have been taking it a little bit easier compared to those who have been driving the wheels off of it, there is going to be a huge difference, and there's going to be some drop-off late in this race. Jourdain happy at the front of this field, a big lunge in there from 4th position. That's going to be Hackerson. Nieva, who started 18th today in this race, finds himself up in P3. What a drive. This is the sort of drive from Jorge Nieva that puts you right in the title picture.
I mean, that's the reason why he's up there in that F2 Drivers' Championship. And quite honestly, the first handful of rounds with Nieva, he's been on another planet in terms of his previous performance. And it's just showing up again here at Motegi. He's a cool cat out there. He's saved his tires, at least from what I saw. He's been very calm and collected out there, and it's starting to pay off for him. Look at how smooth he is compared to everybody else around him.
Look how narrow everyone had to go, dealing with the bit of traffic that was there. That was Austin Elliott that they were trying to navigate through. 1, 2, and 3, single file. Little look there behind, down on the low side looking. That looked like Maurice was there. Verbruggen as well, having a good run. It was Verbruggen there in 5th position, taking that place away but Jourdain feels comfy at the front. Hisada wants to take that away and get that home soil victory. Lap 32, they're starting to jostle on that. Look again down low at 3 and 4 is where Hisada is really maximizing his opportunity. He'll rush up the circuit trying to look, but again, Jourdain keeps that tyre width there, keeps that overlap. Here's the look to the inside. Nieva thought about it, but backed out.
I can't believe how cool Jorge Nieva is acting right now. I'm looking at this car, and he clearly has the fastest car on the track, but he is not driving it to that speed. Look at him power off at turn number 2 like it's nothing. He didn't even have a tail wiggle, and they're 3 wide behind him for what is 3rd place. But I've got my eye on that blue and orange number 9. I have a feeling if he gets out front, all he's got to do is stay cool and calm.
A lap and a half ago, Jonathan Jourdain was leading. He's now side by side for 4th and 5th positions. And that group behind, if it's coalesced well, keep an eye out on it. Xavier Sanchez, Heike 360 ES he is, Kevin Parrish, David Rossi. Those 3 are going to be some drivers who want to try and charge through the field and will completely take advantage if this group capitulates.
Well, absolutely, and they're really not that far behind, so Xavier Sanchez doing everything that he can to kind of hunt down this group, and like you were saying, about a half second faster than our leader this last time around, so doing everything needed to try to hunt it down, and if we get 2, 3, 4 wide, which is bound to happen up front, it's just going to continue to reel in that gap.
I've just seen Alan Graham put it in the wall, and there was a lot of smoke there through 3 and 4. So the worry there has cleared, and they can continue racing at the front, and they've been doing a brilliant job. Hackerson leading this race now after taking the move at 1 and 2 over Togo Hisada. Now Hisada will try the ultimate line, try and go up high side, looking for the pass. Always the more difficult way to make the overtake because you're reliant on the exit, and we've got a little bit less banking here than you would do at other places. That high line becomes a little bit more difficult to navigate as Nieva now makes the move down low.
The whole idea of the high line is that it gives you more momentum, more top speed around the racetrack. Hisada just barely trying to squeeze in line there in 3rd. But I think Jorge Nieva running that bottom line, as long as you are comfortable and patient down there, it can provide dividends. It's easy to burn off the tires in either the low lane or the high lane if you overdrive the car.
Yeah, and everyone's going to have to be alert. Sliding about is Hackerson again on that top side, and that puts Jorge Nieva over the line as a driver who has the lead of this race. Just 3,000 as they split the line. And again, Hackerson slides a little bit more. This is going to allow Jonathan Jourdain to move to that inside to try and take this one back and move up. Tyre to tyre, front to rear. And somehow they keep it all nicely neat together, packaged beautifully in this brilliant flowing race for the lead.
And Togo Hisada is searching for any room that he can get on the racetrack, and Nieva actually had a rare mistake going into turn number 3, got slid up the racetrack. So here we go, 2 by 2 by 2 for the top 6.
And down on the inside, number 1, Jonathan Jourdain makes that pass and takes the race lead back again. There is the look on that low line, searching from Togo Hisada. He wants 2nd, he slides a little bit, but at the moment, here's the slipstream from Nieva. He's trying to look out, he has to pull out, and almost trouble for Hackerson and Hisada. Hisada makes a power move, down low! Contact! Hackerson into the wall!
Oh, so unfortunate for Hackerson. I think that he got caught out by Nieva not wanting to go up there and get aggressive. Nieva lifted off of the gas. Hackerson got into the back of him, going down the back straightaway here. And I don't think you can fault Nieva for this. He didn't want to run over the race leader.
No, he didn't. So he has to lift out because he can't make that power move. He's not clear. Hackerson moves out. Hisada moves out. Pulls them 3 wide into the corner. Nieva has to leave some room on that inside. So he takes the natural high line, which is also the same place where Ben Hackerson wants it. And if you're on the outside, well, that's just trouble. And Hackerson's race, what was an incredible rush forward near the front of the field, is now fallen away. 17 laps to go. We'll tick to 16. Jourdain versus Nieva here at the front.
If you're Jorge Nieva, you just got to put that out of your mind right now. One of the coolest, calmest drivers versus one of the more aggressive drivers. Sometimes they trip over each other, but you've still got a race to win as we are side by side for what is 2nd place, and now potentially going 3 wide here into turn number 3 with Togo Hisada all the way up top. following Jonathan Jourdain, our race leader, but Nieva looking for the drive off of the bottom.
He is desperate for that drive, and he is desperate to have that position, but do not count out Kevin Verbruggen in 4th position, Steve Maurice in 5th, Bill Tyler still there 6th, Marco Antonio Lopez quiet on the back. In P7 is the Spaniard. So there is still elements of this race that need to be sorted out. Back up all the way up top, Jourdain holding that station. But again, it's about where do you pigeonhole yourself into? And that's been the key to the race for Hesada, who's been constantly side by side almost the entire race, but never able to really have a definitive stint at the front.
And look at Hesada go out to the inside. Doesn't have the drive down the front straightaway, though. Nieva is now going to be the one that dives it down to that white line all the way on the inside. I've really noticed Jorge Nieva loves down low as long as he can stay calm down there and control his own throttle. He gets off of the corner extremely well. I don't know if it's the gearing or the setup, but he's got something that seems to be working coming off of the corners.
Well, now here's the next question you have to ask. How much would someone like Jonathan Jourdain or Togo Hesada, Joey, have to pinch on someone like Jorge Nieva, who's so good down low?
I don't think they can pinch him. I think all of the drive for Nieva comes in the final 10% of the corner, and the car just doesn't wiggle. If you really watch him, he just has fantastic drive coming off of 2 and off of 4.
And it's that drive which is being so much of this race. He's able to get up through that 4th gear. And Jourdain clips the wall. Jonathan Jourdain in the wall. And just like that, a big mistake from Jonathan Jourdain. And it drops him all the way back to the end of the line. How much damage does he have? Oh, spin on the inside. One's going to go. It's your F2 championship leader, Kevin Verbruggen.
Oh, so unfortunate for the number 10 car. He was having such a great race out there that happened all off of turn number 4 by himself. No contact from anybody else. And you get this GSRC replay of the number 10 car, and you see him spinning around already. Just got too happy with that right foot.
It's so easy to do. You're doing this lap on lap on lap. There was the hit on the inside. Verbruggen now back in 11th position after that spin. You can see he gets down low. He's looking to put the pad out. He's almost losing it already. He's trying to get that turn. He's lost it about halfway through. He's just unable to get that gathered back up again. And that goes around, and that is a hefty price to pay in the latter stages of this race. And the first omen in terms of this run, Joey, that says tyres are a factor.
Absolutely. I think they've been a factor really since the halfway point as we check in on this battle for what is the 18th position. Seb Tixier back here, Tim Porter, as well as battling Tobias Harnfee, getting the shots from inside the number 12 car now with that initial D theme. I always love what Seb Tixier does out here, has fun with it.
He is, and he is trying to get as much as he can out of this race, knowing how much of a struggle that this race has been for him. It's a case of deja vu, of finding himself in a little bit of trouble. He won't be stopping the music, but what he will be doing is trying to get as much as he can. It might be, as far as he goes, it's 7 seconds to the next group. There's your leaders once again, 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the moment. Nieva leading, Hesada 2nd, Tyler 3rd, Maurice in 4th. Jourdain's jumped up then into 5th position. It puts Marco Antonio Lopez now into P6, and it's now a case of, can they pull away from that group? If you're up the front, the less drivers you have to deal with, the better.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't want to harp on it too much here, Jake, but Jonathan Jourdain, his accident, it wasn't coming off at turn number 2. I just think he was trying to place the car down the back straightaway, and maybe a little bit of netcode grabbed him towards the wall. But he is still inside of the top 5, so the race is not over for that pink number 1 car. Still got a few laps left.
Yeah, and it's Max Linden that'll have to pass us down there. Car spun on the inside, just about pulls out for the circuit before anything should happen there. So they managed to avoid the trouble out on circuit. 8 laps to go for Jorge Nieva, who started 18th today. And if he can get away with a victory coming off of this series, off of this round at this Mobility Resort Motegi, this is one of the great results. Here comes Bill Tyler, who finds himself there down low, and he'll try and take it away from Togo Hesada in 2nd place.
And I'm curious to see how these other front runners approach Jorge Nieva, if they're going to try to go up there and race him as we click over 7 laps to go here. So time is dwindling. Bill Tyler going to pull back in line, but that pink number 1 car going to make a move down to the inside of 4th place on Steve Morris. Jorge Nieva, I think, has the best set of tires out of everybody out here, but can he hang on for the remainder?
Oh, Steve Morris, they're really struggling to try and stay with this group. He's driven so well to stay in it. Here comes the look again from Bill Tyler. He's got a lovely run, always on the inside into 4. The more he battles like this, the more he'll afford Jorge Nieva a lap to get away, and Hisada doesn't want to give this one up, so he'll remain too wide as he'll push off for the exit. He'll get back into position because Tyler's got no slipstream. He's got no friends to help him. Jourdain goes high side looking.
I would expect Jonathan Jourdain to try to do an over-under of some sort, or maybe try to power off a turn number 2. He's to the outside of that white and blue number 7 car. He is going to drag race him down the front or back straightaway here. Move Jonathan Jourdain up into 3rd, but look at what Jorge Nieva is trying to do. This is the biggest gap we've ever seen out of our leader the entire race.
Yes, and it's about how can you claw that back, and the key here is it's 1.5 car lengths per straight. That's what we've seen so far, and Togo Hisada's going to be full beans trying to get this one back into play. Nieva will look behind. Ohio, it's Togo Hisada, and he is right there, and he is ready for what is a 5-lap showdown as Jourdain hits the wall again.
Yeah, he officially hit the wall coming up out of turn number 2 this time. He still keeps the momentum. I have a feeling, though, with coming to 4 laps to go, it might be a little bit too much track position lost to hunt down the lead, though.
Yeah, look at the time that there's now started to open. It's 0.7 of a second for Bill Tyler to chase Togo Hisada and Jorge Nieva. More traffic trying to stay out of the way. It's Arnold Koch who's the next one to try and maneuver around with 4 laps left. Nieva has positioned himself brilliantly, but Hisada is looking to try and get one back. Jump back into the line of the slipstream. That's going to try and cover off the move then on that inside. Surely Togo's got nothing this time. Yes, he's got nothing yet, and it will only allow Tyler to close.
And as I'm watching this entire lead group, if I had to pick maybe a soft spot on Jorge Nieva's driving right now, it's the exit of turn number 2. I've been commenting how good he is getting off of the corners, but something in Togo Hisada has got some top speed down the back straightaway. That's the only weak point in the defense I've seen.
Yeah, and if you've got acceleration, you do have to trade off at top speed at some point. So that might be where you're finding that at the point for Nieva, that he's maybe not got enough on the top end, that he's just covering it off with the acceleration. Jourdain back down low with 2.5 left. He's trying to make some late moves to get through, and Tyler gets dispatched.
Oh my goodness, but it's still side by side back there for 3rd place. You see Nieva kind of drift down the middle of the racetrack, go a little bit defensive on Togo Hisada into turn number 1. Try to posture that car, but we're going to see coming off of the exit here, oh, a little bit of a wiggle from Nieva.
And it's going to allow the opportunity here for Hisada, who wants to try and make that move. Not yet. He's going to have to wait for the last lap.
Oh my goodness, and that pink car that I thought was completely out of it, Jonathan Jourdain has hunted it back down. Togo Hisada all over the back of our leader, side by side into 1 on the final lap.
White flag waves by Barney, outside by Togo, looking for the pass to get it done on Nieva, who's been fantastic on that defense all race long. Here comes the chance, it's going to be up and under, coming for the move, and Jonathan Jourdain makes the power move to the inside. We're going to be 3, heading to 3 and 4, and the look on the outside, looks like Nieva's got himself half a car length still. Jourdain driving, 3 wide it's going to be, someone's going to be a lucky loser. Look at this drive, heading to the line. Hisada will get it for Milwaukee last season. What a finish!
Togo Hisada emerging from the 3 wide moment coming off of turn number 4, but I thought it was all decided in turns 1 and 2. Nieva didn't get the run off of the exit that he needed. It made a 3 wide moment going into turn number 3 with Jonathan Jourdain coming back from the dead. The car that I didn't think had a chance made this move, and all of a sudden it was Togo Hisada claiming the victory. What a finish.
This is bravery, a little bit of contact, a small shuffle, a small slide here and there. Hisada kept the foot down, and that ultimately gives him it at the line. A 10th and a half splits the top 3, 3.5 tenths for the top 5. A simply incredible showcase at Mobility Resort Motegi, and the donuts out in full force. And why wouldn't they be? It's a huge victory on home soil for Togo Hesada, a champion of 2 seasons ago, and he'll be someone who is absolutely thrilled to bits with this result that he's managed to pick off here at Motegi. We're going to step aside for just one moment. Post-race comes to you after this. An act of theatre, not even the great shonens will be there to get an eye on in terms of how incredible this racing was. They don't hold a candle in the wind. What a finish to racing here at Mobility Resort Motegi. Togo Hesada, 32 minutes, 49 seconds, and wins by 800ths over the line over Jorge Nieva and Jonathan Jourdain in an absolutely scintillating finish. Steve Maurice will pick up 4th with Bill Tyler in the picture all day long, but finding himself with 5th. Marco Antonio Lopez taking the point in 6th position. Heikki 360 ES always had the pace, but didn't have that slingshot to get him up to that main group. 7th position for Heikki, with Jordan Gronkowski in 8th position. Kevin Parrish would finish 9th. There'll be David Rossi who would round out the top 10.
Kevin Verbruggen, after running up front early on, comes home in 11th place. Gary Ho in 12th. Jan Steffen in 13th. Don Peak, an excellent drive up into 14th place position. Andres Bruno in 15th. Tim Porter in 16th. Tobias Harnvey finishing in 17th spot. Mats Linden 18th. Seb Tixier in 19th. Not the day that he wanted to have. And Austin Ellett, the first car actually a few laps down, in 20th.
And this is pretty much the graveyard of drivers who did not make it over to the finish line. Michael Grissinger, one of them. Laust Olsen, big loss for Ben Hackerson. He was right up in the front of the field today. He had a real opportunity to get it done. Alan Graham, Jem Matzan, all finding themselves in trouble. John Olsen and Leo Sequeiro as well caught out on the opening lap. So too caught out in that over the final page. Sandeep Banerjee and Rolly Wallbank on this, an iRacing weekend to remember of sim racing, because it is 24-hour weekend after all, but we have had more than our fair share of excitement. Togo Hesada alongside with us right now. Omedito Togo, that was a race for you where you're always in the picture, but always looking to try and find that way through. How patient did you have to be through the early to middle part of that race?
Thank you, and just arigatou gozaimasu. It's very, it's a tricky track, and because I'm Japanese, so that there's no participation in the midweek, so that just no time to practice the pack racing. So that just the first 30 or 40 laps are just trying every line, every draft, and have decided to do the very last, proper racing of the last 10 laps or 5 laps, because the Lotus 49 is pretty strong in the slipstream, so it should be pack racing, so the just practicing, trying every line, the first half and the middle of the race and the last 10 laps. Let's go racing, and the last time is pretty. Yeah, I just went to 3 wide and they're very close to each other. So just very lucky to take the checker first.
A lot of drivers deciding that this was going to be the week that they were going to skip. They were going to use one of their drop rounds. Still some incredible talent out there. Championship leader Jorge Nieva with you every stage of the way. Talk us through that last lap, though, Togo, because that was pretty much a case of just being brave and keeping the throttle down, surely.
Yeah. In my view, then just exit of the last round, just made the ghost contact, or just actually contact. I'm not sure about the contact with Jorge, so I was afraid. I was wondering, I went too wide, but I went too wide and into the Jorge, that's too bad. But they look at the replay, just, all the things very close, so he said, yeah, it's his racing instinct, so he's very happy.
You're very happy. It's some crucial points. You will leave today as championship leader with drop rounds applied through. You look at where you're heading to next week. It's the Hungaroring, so a circuit that's very, very technical out there compared to this as a full throttle masterpiece. What's the thought process then going to a track where you do have to be very switched on like you have to be at the Hungaroring?
Yeah, actually the Hungaroring is my first time I took a pole position in this series. The Hungaroring just 2 years ago or something. So I just pretty the really good memories in Hungaroring and the Lotus 49 combinations. And I like these the slow speed, the hairpin or something. Just very the critical of the throttle control, but I'm just strong. I think I have a strong, the throttle control, so that I just really looking forward to it.
Well, we hope that you look forward to it. We're looking forward to it. Floor is yours, Togo, for anyone you'd like to thank.
Yeah, GSRC community, broadcast team, Lotus 49 community, and my father. Just finally I took the one. I took my first one in this season, so that he's very happy, I think, now.
Well, no doubt about it. 3 seconds coming into this one, and a victory finally finds itself forward. Togo Hasada there joining us. A big, big victory here today at Motegi. Second overall would belong to Jorge Nieva in this race. He stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Well, Jorge Nieva, an amazing drive today. I was singing your praises the entire race. What did you think of it?
Well, it was unexpected because I did a very bad quali, and I was afraid of the first laps crashes, but I was lucky. I think I could avoid all of them because there were a lot, and well, then I almost lost the first group around lap 10, but luckily they fought a little, and I could join them, and then it was wait and try to overtake.
So what I saw was that you were very calm and cool the first half of the race. It seemed like you were plenty happy to watch them fight in front of you. Was that maybe the key to saving your tires and having the grip in the fast car in the back half of the race?
No, I don't think the tires need to take care with this car. The tires are almost stones, and it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the temperature that you have them, and I think we all had similar temperatures on the tires. I think Togo was very calm on the last laps. He wanted to pass just on the last one, I think, because he could have passed the 5 or 6 or 7 laps earlier, but I think he wanted to wait, and well, he did it.
Well, I call that strategy on his part for sure. And something else I have to ask you, because it seems like you were picking the low lane for the most part. Is that where you were trying to drive the car, or were you comfortable on the top as well?
I think I don't know how to drive the high line because I'm not an overdriver, and I see other cars driving there and pressing the gas really, really early. I can't do it. I'm a road guy, and I need to stick to the apex because that's the fastest line on road, and that's the only thing I can do on autoballs.
I love the attitude. That's a fantastic response, Jorge. And, you're still right in that F1 points championship lead. The floor is yours, so anybody you want to thank?
Well, of course, Bill Tyler, because I used his setup with minor gear changes. Well, minor no. I changed the gears a lot. I was only using second and third gear during all the race. Sometimes fourth when with a tow, but the rest of the setup was his, and it was awesome. And Jim Sedley, because I think he was the originator of Bill's setup. So thanks to both.
Well, that was Jorge Nieva coming home second today. Also, our biggest mover in the entire field, up plus 16 from where he qualified.
A truly incredible display of driving by Jorge Nieva to get up to the top and to mitigate damage dealt by Togo Hosada. Third overall was Jonathan Jourdain, who is along with us right now. Jonathan, you had the number 1 on your car today, indicating you had the best overall iRacing out of everybody in the field. So to be up here at the front, trying to prove your worth out there, at least in the early stages, you looked like you were top dog, that you were out there and everyone was going to have to drive through you first.
Oh yeah, this was a lot of fun racing here. Really want to be up front and notice you can't really drive away from the pack, and I thought it'd be good to stay up front. So whenever someone would get by, I'd want to try to stay up there instead of cussing back and hanging around.
You had yourself some good running out there, but there were 2 very important moments in terms of your race. 2 small clips of the wall out of 2, which derailed a little bit of progress and forced the fight back. There was a never say die attitude about you today in that race, but those 2 small hits on the wall, did that really, I would say, refocus you in terms of the racing that you were going on with?
Well, they certainly rattled me a little bit. The first one, I looked left to see where the car was inside and couldn't drive straight while doing that. But I was able to pull back ahead, though, so I was too bad.
There's definitely a lot of opportunity out there, but let's just talk about that final stage of the race for you, because you threw everything you had at it into that final corner. It just looked like it ever so slightly didn't stick when the 2 up top of you there made a little bit of contact and you had to give a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, that was pretty good on Togo hanging in there. I think we really squeezed him in the middle there. But going into that last turn, I missed side of the brake marker, and being on the inside, that was not a good spot to be to blow a turn.
Well, the opportunities was there. Jonathan, the floor is yours. Anybody you'd like to thank? It's a 3rd place finish. It's where you started today.
No, I think I'm good.
He thinks he's good, and we think he's good as well when it comes to driving at Mobility Resort Motegi. 3rd place, you couldn't ask for too much better. Finally, we've got Tim Porter, who has been having a very solid run today. He stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Tim Porter, congratulations, up 13 positions to finish 16th. How was it for you?
Well, it was fantastic, man. I think that's the best finish I've had in this entire series now. It says 16th, but really I consider it was 17th. Tobias Harnvey gave me a great race. I had a good time with him. We came together there at one point, got a little bump. He gave me the position back. I didn't think he needed to. It was just a racing incident, but big shout out to him. He's a real gentleman. Geez, I had a great time.
Well, I've been going through on the replay, and it seemed like you had a battle pretty much the whole time out there. Have you had a moment to kind of catch your breath yet?
No, I haven't, man. It was I just wanted to finish, of course, and I didn't want to get lapped either. That's always embarrassing. But I had the hammer down. You know, I was out shopping. I bought some shoes at the shoe store that were 2 sizes too big, so that way when I drive the hammer down on the throttle, it really drives it into the octane. You know, give me that extra boost, so I'm not a rolling pylon for the rest of my comrades here.
I love the comedy through it all, and I know that you're down there in the F2 Points Championship is all. Are you making a run for that at all? Are you trying to work your way up inside the top 10? Do you have any tracks that you're maybe looking forward to at the rest of the season?
No, not really. I've been having a hard time this season. You know, I'm crashing. I'm not doing so well. You know, it's the reason why I always have the largest number on my car. But I come out, I have a good time. You know, I put a little bit of practice in, but just enough to be safe. You know, I don't make a wage off of this, so it's a laugh every time I come out. I look forward to every week.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for coming to race with us. Thank you for logging in and showing us the sim room and everything. I love the guitars and the instruments, what you got behind you. Is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Big shout out. I always say hello to my brother Cam. He's out racing with the 24 hours, so that's why I finished ahead of him here on this race. But, you know, I always say hello. The boys here were pretty courtesy. You know, they didn't give me any trouble. It was all great. I had a good time. We'll see you next week.
Well, that was Timothy Porter up 13 positions today to finish in the 16th spot.
Pretty incredible run from a lot of drivers up and down the field. Tim having a good run as well in terms of today's action. That is going to bring the close of the curtains then on the opening half of the season. There are 6 more rounds to go out there and decide a champion in your Grand Prix Legend Series as one of the 3 that makes up the Vintage Triple Crown here in iRacing. You can't ask for much more, but you have to say, you've got to give a massive thanks to those who get it done today, from Joey, from Joe, and from Dougie as well. Here is all of the equipment that has been used here today in order to get this broadcast over to you, including the music that has been performed by June Lalonde. You can catch her stuff on Bandcamp if you haven't had the chance to already. There are so many amazing sim races that are coming up with the Global Sim Racing channel. That is flashing across your screen right now. If you haven't had the chance to already, you can go look at our socials, our website, and our merch store, gsrc.storenv.com. If you haven't got your merchandise yet, what are you doing? This is going to be so cool. Mark all these events down in your calendar if you haven't had the chance to already. But when you've got Togo Hasada that proves that he is a demon slayer from what was 3 months ago, he proves that he is a master of this circuit and that he is on top of the championship as they walk to the Hungaroring. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you not too far from Budapest.